Hello, and welcome back to Profound. Thank you for hopefully listening to my last video, and I hope you enjoyed, and I hope that's the reason you're back right now. And I just wanted to go over some of the rules of this podcast again. So each video, it cannot exceed 15 minutes. So the last video cut off, but I honestly think it was a good point to cut off at. So I'll leave it at that. Also, I'm going to try to get better at saying less ums and likes. I know it's going to take some time. I'm going to get better at speaking though. And I like to continue to think about dreams. Honestly, dreams have been something that have interested me for a while, and something that I put a lot of attention to in my life. And dreams are a subconscious expression of underlying themes in your life, and you constantly can see what you're focused on mostly in your external life combined with your internal life in dreams. It's normally like a kind of like a mishmash of the outside world and your inside world, and a lot of the time it doesn't make sense, and then sometimes it's super realistic. But there's one thing about dreams that I really want to touch upon, and it's the fact that you can induce yourself to become aware in dreams, and it's pretty easy. First steps at doing something like this is keeping a dream journal. So every night you just write down what you dreamed. If you didn't dream anything, you just write no dreams. You're still putting more attention on your dreaming. And when you are doing something like this, putting more attention on something, attention is just another term for energy. So you're just transferring more energy towards something, which is manifesting it in a higher fold in your reality. The next step is doing things called reality checks. Reality checks can be pushing your finger through your palm, and if your finger goes through your palm, you're in a dream. If your finger doesn't go through your palm, you're awake. If you constantly do these checks, you're still putting more awareness and more energy towards your dreams, and eventually when you're in your dreams, you can check. Third, you have to set a 6-hour alarm. As you go to sleep, you set like a 6-hour alarm, or 6 hours and 30 minutes if you don't think you're going to fall asleep for 30 minutes, whenever you think you're going to fall asleep. Then you wake up. You don't really want to go on your phone. Maybe you go to the bathroom, maybe you walk around your house, maybe you stretch, maybe you just think about a few things, maybe you read a few pages of a book. But you got to stay up for around 10 minutes. And when you go back to bed, you have to close your eyes and focus intently on staying awake and repeating to yourself, "And when I wake up, I will be in a dream," or something along the line, some sort of affirmation that is going to make you aware of when you wake up in a dream. And then the next step is to just slowly just wait for you to fall asleep while you repeat this in your head. Repeat it in your head, and then eventually after a day or two of doing this, you're going to wake up in your dream, and you're going to realize, holy shit, I'm in a dream, and then that's when it starts getting real. And the hardest part is then staying in a dream. You get so excited that you start thinking, oh my god, I'm in a dream, and then you just wake up because you just get so excited and you really can't contain yourself, and you don't really realize that the dream becomes really fragile once you realize you're in it. So one of the techniques I figured out is commands. So you basically like command your brain, like your brain's like a genie or something, and you go, tree, grow 10 feet out of the ground over there, and the tree just grows out of the ground and becomes more vivid. Or like volcano, erupt, and a volcano starts erupting or something, and it amplifies the dream, and it makes it more detailed and descriptive, and it makes the dream last longer. So that's one of the methods I figured out for staying in dreams longer. Also, you have to just stay calm, and you can't get too excited. But what I didn't know that came with a byproduct of lucid dreaming is the evil twin, sleep paralysis. And sleep paralysis, it technically just is lucid dreaming, but you're just paralyzed. You know you're awake, but you're still dreaming. It's just like it's an in-between wake and sleep stage. And One thing about sleep paralysis is it's really weird. It's like this stage of like pure vibration in your body. It feels like you're getting pushed down by like 100-mile-an-hour winds. And if you can see things, maybe you see some weird, creepy things, or maybe you just hear things, hear voices, or maybe you see a giant monster at the end of your bed. I don't know. It can range from anything. And it can even range from having like a heart attack. You think you're having a heart attack, but you wake up and it's just sleep paralysis. So it's just almost as similar as lucid dreaming, but it's way scarier. In this state of sleep paralysis, you can manipulate your own reality, and this is where it gets kind of funky. Sleep paralysis, I found a way to roll off my bed, but I wasn't rolling off my bed. I was rolling off my bed in my dream body, not in my real body. So I would like physically try to roll off my bed, but when I stood up, I wasn't in my body. And I realized in this stage of sleep paralysis, I can enter dreams. If I don't fight this sleep paralysis, I'll just fall asleep and go back into a dream. But that can be dangerous because then you could fall into some sort of drowsiness cycle where you become way too drowsy and you lose the ability to wake up. You kind of get stuck in this loop of drowsiness. So you can't fight the sleep paralysis for too long. But if you close your eyes, you can go back to sleep and you go into a dream. And normally you're aware, sometimes you're not, but most of the time you're aware that you're in a dream. And you can keep popping back and forth. But then there's another thing you can do, and that's the roll off the bed method that I figured out. And normally I would just walk around my house, and it was like I was really walking around my house, but I wasn't. Because I knew it was a dream, and I looked out my window and I saw things that didn't belong in this reality and didn't make any sense. So I knew I was in a dream. It was more just like, what I realized later, what this is an out-of-body experience, or what some might refer to as astral projection. And I didn't realize I was unintentionally astral projecting myself. And I think it's such an important point to make to people when they go into trying to lucid dream. They're gonna have this like byproduct of sleep paralysis that they just they don't want. And the thing about sleep paralysis is you kind of grow the most from sleep paralysis. Thinking about my dreams that had the biggest impacts on me, they were mostly sleep paralysis experiences. Even though they were scary in the moment, you kind of go back and you look back and you're like, wow, these are kind of like surreal experiences. Like one time, I told you how I used to roll off my bed. One time I felt like I was stuck in place, so I dove into my bed. And when I opened my eyes, I was fully submerged in like a deep ocean. And I got really scared really fast and thought I was about to get eaten by a shark. So then I woke myself up. But there's different crazy scenarios and there's different dreams that maybe I'll go over in the future and give meanings. But the thing about dreams is they tend to be symbols of your unconscious and subconscious thoughts. And we gotta pay mind to our dreams as they are a tell to what we need to fix in our external life. To turn a blind eye to this reality and call it fake and call this reality just realer than dreaming doesn't make any sense. The only thing that's really different is our brainwaves and that we're asleep. If like we're this physical being and this like material world, sleep doesn't make much sense, does it? Like in dreams, does that make much sense? Why do animals dream? We still don't really know. I think maybe an evolutionary trait of dreaming might have been a way to evolve. Maybe dreaming gave ancient hominids an ability to predict events in the future or grow as a person, and maybe gave dreams about how to start different civilizations. I remember hearing that a lot of ancient scripture and a lot of lore from ancient canon comes from visions and dreams. So that in the ancient times, they were definitely more in tune with their intuitive and dream side of their mental, which definitely speaks to a different type of culture that they were experiencing. It was definitely less material. It's almost like we materialize consciousness so much that consciousness is like non-material anymore. That we have such a materialistic outlook that we manifested this completely material world. When in fact there is a material world and there's a non-material world. It is not just a material world, fellas. I hate to break it to you. But I want to end it on the note. You could start trying to lucid dream, starting tonight, and you can explore this world of yourself that you've never imagined. It opened up a whole new world of thought for me. Just the ability to be aware in my own dreams and to fly around and to do what I wanted and to explore a different type of world that I never explored before. Just spending all your time in the physical world will drive you towards this materialistic insanity where you are doing the same thing over and over again in this complacent and organized society that has been formed, which isn't a bad thing. It's just that you need to balance your physical and your non-physical life, aka like your spiritual life. There needs to be some sort of balance between the two. They can't be all one. I mean, the shamans, they have a completely spiritual life, but they couldn't live in a westernized society. So it doesn't really apply to them because they don't live in a westernized society, but anyone listening to this probably listens from a western society. That's what the world is run on right now, or at least the world that we know is run on. So a balance of spiritual and non-spiritual life is very important in this westernized culture, and you can't just have a spiritual life where you're just a schizophrenic, and you can't just have a materialistic life where you're an anxious, depressed maniac. So you gotta just you gotta find a balance between the two, and the medicine isn't gonna do it. Medicine can help maybe initially as a preventative measure, but it can't be used as a permanent fix. That's all I'm going to give you guys today. I hope you enjoyed. If you want to hear about dreams and my dreams, comment. If you want to hear some stories about my sleep paralysis experiences, leave a comment. I hope you enjoyed, and live out.